Welcome everybody to the seasonal diet, eating what our ancestors ate when they ate it, like we were evolved to do. Wheat. We are in top grain season right now in the ancestral diet, and today we are speaking about wheat, the most boring of all the grains, but in reality the most important and widely used throughout human history. You can make so many things with wheat: bread, muffins, noodles, pasta, biscuits, cakes, cookies, pastries, cereals, snacks, and all these kinds of things. No matter where you come from, if you have ancestry in the Europe or the Middle East, different wheat products have been a central part of your ancestors' diet for a very long time. But the reason I like wheat the least out of all grains is that it tends to be the most processed. More is done to wheat from the time it leaves the farm until it goes down your pie hole, in whatever form that may be. There are options for wheat though, a couple of them that are minimally processed, such as cracked wheat or straight stone ground wheat. So those are the best types that your early ancestors would have eaten and what I try to incorporate into my diet. The cultivation of wheat goes back more than 10,000 years to the Mediterranean Middle East area. So this makes it one of the earliest cultivated plants. But of course there were wild species of wheat eaten by humans a long time before this. So wheat has actually been in our diets for a long time, but less in certain places. Like I said, it is native and it was first cultivated in the Mediterranean and Middle East about 10,000 years ago. We have some small bits of evidence that wheat was cultivated and eaten in the northern parts of Europe up to 4,000 to 6,000 years ago, but it's not enough evidence in the archaeological finds to say that the wheats were widely eaten. For example, we have some Roman sources actually saying the Germanic tribes, they grew wheat, but they did it only to make alcohol and not even into bread or any types of food, and this was about 2,000 years ago. So potentially as recently as then, wheat was not widespread in the northern European diet. But by the time we get to the Viking Age, about 1,000 years ago, we do know that it was a pretty widely cultivated thing and eaten all over Europe. And since then, it has spread everywhere else that the Europeans settled. As for the seasonal availability, wheat is typically harvested in the late summer to the fall. So that's when they are in top season and fresh like most of the other grains. But also like most of the other grains, it has a very long shelf life and can be stored for at least a year in the right conditions. So it is something our ancestors would have had access to all year. But they are traditionally more of a late winter and spring food. So that is what I'm eating a lot of now. It's actually the only time of year I eat the wheats. I'm having breads, pastas, and I even indulge in plenty of pastries and cakes, especially this month in February, but only during the late winter, and I finish in the spring when our ancestors would have pretty much stopped eating grains if they had the luxury to do so. But as I always say, I prefer the hunter-gatherer paleo-type diet going back to before wheat was even cultivated, like before 10,000 years ago. But that's just me. Let me know what you guys think. Do you like the grains? Do you like the wheats? Any specific recipes? Do you like the pastas or breads best? Any traditions from your ancestral homelands? Let us all know.